first drink that I'm going to make for you, which is my Twisted Traditions. And I've taken inspiration really from the name of that. In that I looked at, what I consider, if you like, traditions and ways of drinking gin. And one of my favourite gin cocktails, well, two of my favourite gin cocktails are the Negroni and the Martini. Very sort of aperitif style drinks. And I wanted to replicate or bring back some of that sort of aperitif style glamour to gin drinking with Sloanes. A few of you, I'm not going to go far with that, am I? A few of you have already mentioned about obviously the botanicals. Well, I've seen two different references, 9 or 10 botanicals that go into it. I'll go for 10, but what I really want to do is to accentuate certain elements of those botanicals, particularly things like licorice. Licorice, across the two drinks, licorice, cardamom, obviously juniper, that sort of light, delicate flavour. I wanted to do a drink that, if you like, encompassed a bitterness to it, a salinity, an acidity as well, and have a sort of an entire sort of rounded approach to the drink. So I'm going to go way over time, so I'm going to introduce the ingredients first. Obviously we've got Sloanes Gin, as we've said, produced in Holland to a London dry style. Now, inspired by Sir Hans Sloane, who lived in the late 1600s to mid 1700s, which a lot of you will know is quite an interesting time for gin, because it was pretty much when the first gin, if you like, gin craze happened, pretty much, with William of Orange coming to the throne, etc. And the fact that in London a lot of gins were being consumed, and 1 in 4 houses were producing gin, particularly I'd say around this part of town, which is quite a nice relevance as well. So we've got Sloanes Gin, again, things like cardamom, light, delicate, floral, a London dry, but ever so slightly sweeter for me than a lot of sort of traditional classic London dries. I'm going to balance that with a Campari distillate, which I've actually created in a rotovap, and the reason I've done it is not just because it's clear, but also I wanted to take away or strip away some of the sweetness that you have within Campari. I wanted its bitterness and its sort of aromatics, but I didn't necessarily want that sweetness to be there as well. So, so I've actually ran that through a rotovap to take some of that sweetness away, but I want to retain some of the bitterness. So it's a cross between a Martini and a Negroni. I've also got here a licorice vermouth, which again I've distilled through a rotovap with licorice root. What I decided to do, because I played around with this quite a bit, and I'll go through the quantities in a second, I played around with this quite a bit. This is actually, and this one here, if you want to try it, is the distillate that came through, after the distillation. This is the Campari substance that was left after the distillation. Obviously I've taken the clear part. Sorry, I've lost my train of thought there a little bit, but what I was getting at basically is that the Campari retains the bitterness. The vermouth here, which is a licorice vermouth, I've actually decided to go with not the distillate that comes through, but actually the substance that's left. And the reason I've done that is that it retains a lot more of its sweetness and character. It's it's a bit of a concentrate actually, you can try that as well. So we only need a small amount of that. The quantities for this drink are 40 ml per drink of Sloanes Gin, to 20 ml per drink of clear Campari, to 10 ml per drink of Gancia licorice vermouth, but the substance that's left over. I'm going to add a dash per drink of Worship Street Whistling Shop Exhaust Gin Tonic, which is a combination of 3 different salts and phosphoric acid as well. And again, what that does is that on the palate it balances out all of the different flavors. Basically, acts almost like a binding agent for all of the other ingredients that go into it. Because you have the salt, the acidity, the bitterness, the sweetness, and obviously the base spirit as well, all combined together to create a rounded finished product, basically. How am I doing for time? 2 minutes. Oh, right, okay, that's easy. So anyway, what I was saying, when I talk about, I know I mentioned at the beginning about twisted traditions and my inspiration coming from Sir Hans Sloane, obviously a botanist and also a physician. This drink's called the Law of Physics, and the reason I called it that is because what I wanted to do was to change people's perceptions of how a particular style of drink should look and also taste. So what we have here is something that represents a drink similar to a Negroni, but looks nothing like a Negroni. It's crystal clear, it has bitterness, it has the sweetness from the vermouth. It has no garnish, so it literally looks like a glass of water. The residue of the Campari that was left, what I actually did was turn that into a sherbet using icing sugar. So I mixed the Campari with icing sugar, dehydrated it in a dehydrator, mixed it with bicarbonate of soda and citric acid, and created a Campari sherbet. So the idea is for this drink that you dip your licorice, which is one of the key botanicals in the gin, into the sherbet, you eat the sherbet, you sip the drink. Obviously you've got the orange oils that are over the glass as well, and you have a drink that's crystal clear, completely, if you like, quite clinical in its appearance, but also quite complex as well. So, there you go. The laws of physics.